Well, guys, thank you all for being here this evening. I'm Sean McMullen, class of 96. So this is one of these decades that's near and dear to my heart because I actually know what you guys lived through and want to talk a little bit about it with you. As your alumni director, it means a lot that you took some time out of your week to be here. With me is our most tenured professor, Sheryl. And I don't know how many of you, I think we have two of y'all were in her class. So just because she's here, no holds barred. She's ready, she's heard it, she's ready for it. So what I'd like to start with is go around the horn and you tell us your name, what year you were, and we'll keep going around the room.
Hello, everybody. Ryan Mans, class of 95.
Hi, Carlos Esparza, class of 98.
Kevin Young, class of 99.
Savio Chacko, 92.
Dustin Pridmore, class of 97.
And Gabe, Vazquez, class of 95.
Fantastic. And Kascie Smith, class of 94, will be joining us shortly, so he'll be joining the end of our circle. So now I'm interested. We have two guys in the room that went to public school. How did you hear about Jesuit?
Through soccer, for me. So with guys that I played club soccer with. My parents were looking at moving to the North Dallas area and looking at schools to go there, and then heard about the great soccer program that Jesuit has and continues to have, and then from there that morphed into the academic side of it.
Were you the only one from that school that attended?
Yep.
Okay. Carlos?
My brother attended Jesuit. He went to Catholic school, but my parents thought it was not good enough for me, I guess. So, yeah, I went to public school, and I always wanted my brother was a class of 91, so,
okay.
He was 7 years older than me, so I always kind of looked up to him, so I wanted to go to Jesuit, so when I finally had the chance to go apply, I did. So,
good decision?
yes, very good decision, yeah.
So I can let the cat out of the bag. Are you currently a Jesuit priest?
That is correct, yes.
I love that. I love that, which was interesting. How many Jesuit taught classes did you guys take? I know I had Father Leininger for English, and I believe I had another.
That's the only one I can recall. Do you know if there was Father Chesney?
Father Chesney, yes.
For Spanish.
Father Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Who was yours?
Deeves taught physics.
Oh, Father Deeves, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so you guys were talking about soccer with Charlie DeLong. Do we have any other sports in the room?
Sure, basketball and baseball.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Okay, and baseball? Who were your coaches?
And in basketball, freshman year, Coach Wonderlick, and then for JV, Coach Jensen baby, and then Coach Jolly for varsity.
Scott Jolly.
Yeah.
Good man. Good man. Chacko, what were you were talking about a letter jacket earlier? What did you?
So I was a shot putter because I couldn't pretty much do anything else. So I did that for, I think I might have done that all 4 years. And then I played JV football. The cool thing for me was if I had gone to public school, I probably wouldn't have gotten to play. But coming here, I had an opportunity to play. It was a smaller school, still competitive, but everybody got a chance, at least at the JV level, and I was happy just being able to play. So Bobby Wonderlick, I think his first year of coaching, he was one of our coaches on the JV side. His brother also coached, Tommy Wonderlick.
Oh.
Yep. And so those are the sports that I played.
Interesting. What about you guys? Anything? Any extracurriculars or?
I played football, wrestled sophomore year, and threw shot put also junior year.
Who was the wrestling coach when you were here?
Coach Holler.
Oh, Coach Allen.
Holler, yeah.
Interesting.
And Coach Jericho. Jerry Skull.
Now I remember. Okay. Okay. And where was your wrestling? I know for a section of the 90s, the cafeterias where wrestling took place.
Mine was it was in where the Terry Center is now, above the art room.
Above the ceramics room.
Mm-hmm. About 100 to 120 degree wrestling practices up there. We turn the heater on. Yeah.
Interesting. Carlos, what about you?
I managed basketball and baseball.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, managed varsity basketball 3 years with Coach Jolly, and then baseball with Kenny Forsang.
Coach Kenny Forsang. Forgot about Coach Kenny.
Aw. Yeah.
New Orleans.
How about now?
Okay. Now, did you play for Coach Kenny? Because you said baseball too.
I didn't. I stopped playing after my sophomore year.
So
but I heard
okay.
all kinds of same stories.
It was interesting.
Of course, he taught too, but
Yeah, I had him for math. Now that I think about it, I was just telling one of y'all I didn't remember my math teachers. I had Coach Kenny for something.
yeah.
Geometry, I think he had geometry.
That's it. That could have been, yeah.
I was an unofficial bat boy for Coach Forsang when I was in grade school, kind of. When my oldest brother was a statistician and baseball manager as well.
So you were around before you even came to Jesuit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good advantage. I like seeing that. That's fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Do that. So now one of the things that I was telling Carlos, who was coming, and I mentioned your name, and he thinks you might have been his big brother.
I think you as a freshman. Yeah, I think you might have been in the classroom. I can't remember exactly, but
Yeah.
I recognized the name right away. So
Yeah.
But I believe, weren't you the president of the Big Brothers?
I was.
Tell us a little bit
we
about
had
that.
I think we had 2 presidents. I think they were co-presidents. I can't remember, but it was just a real Jesuit type tradition. The seniors looking out for freshmen, and so I can't remember how many members of the senior class were Big Brothers, but it was really just kind of I would say a mentorship program, but to me it was more familiar than that. It was more just kind of looking out for kind of like a passing the torch. Trying to make sure that freshmen's transition into Jesuit was as seamless as possible and as positive as possible. And so
they changed it my year, senior year. Because I think before they only had like 30 or 40 each year, and then my year, I think they tried to pair up like 1-to-1 almost, senior to freshman. I think almost like my senior class was a Big Brother, like whoever applied would do it. Yeah.
I haven't thought about this in decades, but my big brother actually was McMullen, and so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be a big brother, because he made such a great impression on me.
Another basketball player.
Another basketball player, great student athlete, great guy, and
Absolutely.
so to me that was a great aspiration to become a big brother because of him.
Family. As I was looking through the yearbooks, there was like all 4 classes were competing in the Jesuit Olympics. My junior year. You guys did that continue that tradition? Because you would have been a senior, I was a junior. Did you guys continue that?
Yeah, we did.
It's like a field day.
Yeah,
Everybody had their own color.
It was pretty fun. Yeah.
I do recall
My
that.
class won 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Yeah, the seniors were supposed to win, and we won as juniors, and I think that would have caused a little.
Right.
People were a little upset. So sorry. Hope you got over it.
There were obstacle courses.
There's obstacle courses. There was everything. I think they had paper plane contests, like how far it could go or how long you stay in the air. I think there was like even taboo. There was like like football, basketball,
Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah. So,
I remember an eating competition also. I don't know if that was part or if that was Ranger Day.
I think it was Ranger Day.
Yeah, it was Ranger Day. I was thinking Ranger Day.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, so tell me this about your Ranger Day experience. We all smashed a car with a sledgehammer. I distinctly remember Father Deutsch being on the hood of a car and hitting the sledgehammer through the windshield.
Somewhere right up here.
Right outside the gymnasium. Is that, Chacko, is that what you had to do also?
Yeah, I think towards the parking lot.
Okay. Was it a
They got
fundraiser?
Yeah, I think it was a fundraiser.
I think it was $5 a swing.
And then some beat up car showed up.
Right. Some little
Everything's
junker.
black.
It was spray painted. Did you guys have that,
Mhm.
Dustin? Yeah?
Yeah, I remember it was pretty jarring too. Because as a freshman, you don't really know what's going on. It's your first experience. You're like,
What are we doing?
yeah, like, is this what's going to happen the rest of today? But it was great. Everybody, got the day going. Everybody had a good time, and I just remember it being like, wow, all right, tear this thing apart.
Curious to know what everybody's first Jesuit memory was.
Great question.
Just based on talking about the chair races
Yeah.
or whatever, but what's everybody's first Jesuit memory? I can start because for me it's pretty clear. I remember going through orientation and Mr. Ursing saying, "Mr. Moss," Moss was a senior, big brother. He goes, "What time is it?" And Moss said, "The time is now." And then it just made a huge impression. Just a huge auditorium of freshmen just sitting there and realizing that the time is now. It's like the transition has started. You guys have started this process. It's part of your journey to become men. And it just really, I can't wait till my 2 little boys are old enough for me to ask them that question and deliver that response. So.
What about y'all? What is y'all's favorite or first memory?
I remember coming up with my dad to pick up my brother here at school. Yeah, when he was a freshman. And remember, he used to get out on time because when he was in grade school, he always got older from the teacher. But he actually loved the school and he actually behaved here, so he never had detention. So it was like the first time we actually show up and we actually be there on time.
Right.
We never had to wait 30 minutes for him to go. So that's when we pick up at the 86 wing, I guess the new wing.
That's
what
right.
It was called back then. That's where he'd be working out, working something, and then he'd come in to the car. But yeah, I do remember that. So
That's hilarious.
My first memory was actually before I started here. There was some kind of diocesan school thing that was going on at Jesuit, so a handful of kids from each school came here, and I remember walking in, seeing everybody with the ties and everybody kind of polished, and you could tell this was a different place and it was special. And up to that point, I hadn't really, me personally, heard much about Jesuit or thought about going here. But that plus a couple other things said to me, this is a place where I want to be.
Mine was first day of school. I mean, coming in and knowing 2, maybe 3 people when everyone else had at least a pretty good core of friends that they knew from grade school. And I remember going home and telling my parents, I don't want to be there. And them saying, well, stick with it. And I think it took about the first quarter. And then I finally started to realize, okay, I get it. I am starting to like this. And, now obviously hindsight, it was a fantastic experience and still have, many of those same friends. But I just remember that first day, it was just like, wow, I mean, there's 200 people and 1% of them. It's really hard.
That's tough.
But it was, it was a great experience.
My turn, huh? Well, I had the benefit of thinking about it. I don't actually remember the specific time and place. I'm assuming it was either orientation or maybe first prayer service. But the first time I heard the phrase, man for others, I remember distinctly trying to make sense of it. Right at the end of the day, I just distinctly remember just more of the kind of curiosity as to what exactly does that mean.
Did you feel there was a time in your 4 years that it clicked?
When he was awarded the Man for Others award, it clicked for him.
That might have been one of those moments.
Isn't that interesting?
So, no, I think it's senior year somewhere, because I think it kind of takes that whole time to really kind of get a real sense of what it actually means.
Sure.
I can't pinpoint a magic moment. I do remember I did the silent retreat at Montserrat, and so for me that was a big period of reflection on a lot of what I felt like I had learned in my time at Jesuit and what that would mean for me going forward.
What does that term, man for others, mean to y'all now as you're looking back, as you're older?
So I guess I'll pick it back up since I was freshly thinking about it. To me, it melds in with the whole issue of, kind of the social justice and responsibility component of the school, which I think is the huge value that I think from an educational standpoint the school actually offers a lot of young men in a very formative period. And so really it's just this idea of a broader responsibility to me, to others, and how far you want to take that. I mean, I think that's kind of an individual decision, but certainly for me it means a lot more than just kind of my immediate family, my friends. It's really kind of the community that I live in, and I think it's just that concept of responsibility and my piece of that responsibility and how I can actually add to it. And I think Jesuit really does an amazing job of actually creating an environment that asks that question of the students and really asks them to kind of figure out what it means for themselves.
For me, it's a lot about, you use the word community. It's about giving back to the community and creating opportunities for other people that they may not get on their own. So we all get our own opportunities in different ways, and it's about using the opportunities that we get to grow it and have a wider impact in the community. And hopefully you can help 1 or 2 people, and they can help a handful of other people. And over time, we're all helping each other out. We do hear men for others a lot, but that's what I'm thinking about, is how do you use what you have to help others.
I think in high school I had no idea. I'll be honest. You have some sense, again, trying to figure it out. And I think it probably hit home a little bit as a senior on the senior community days, having a sense of the bonding that happened with the class and the brotherhood that you felt. But it was almost expanded my view just a little bit bigger. But Man for Others now, I think it's the key reason why I chose to come into the Jesuit order. When I thought about the priesthood, it was a sense of the people I encountered here at the school, the priests, but also the faculty, how much they gave of themselves to the school. They gave themselves to the boys and how much they loved people. That's the one thing I remember at the school. I knew I was loved here. and I think it's kind of the lessons I think I learned here in community service, and I think which my classmates did too, just actually becoming friends with some of the people, the Meals on Wheels, the people they visited, or talking to the kids. I think it was Brian's house, and actually becoming friends with people, loving these people. And I think that's what it comes to the end of it, at least for me, Man for Others, to go beyond yourself and be able to actually love other people.
That well. But tell me about y'all's service sites. What was your senior community service like? What y'all do? I worked at the Notre Dame school and taught a home ec class on how to use an oven, and it was just like things that you wouldn't have thought were so rewarding for people that were trying to live independently, and just so rewarding. I really enjoyed my Wednesday service.
I did Notre Dame as well.
Did you?
I think I ran the PE class very
Okay.
well. But no, I loved those days because it was, it was just so rewarding to hang out with the kids, and it's just pure unadulterated love that you get out of them.
Yes.
Kascie,
Yes, sir.
welcome to the circle, sir.
How you doing?
Will you introduce yourself and tell us what class you are?
Yes, I guess I'll stand up when I do this, right? I'm Kascie Smith, class of '94. Let's see, just happy to be here, part of the family yet again. So I appreciate this time.
Glad you're here. Welcome, bud. Welcome. We're talking about our senior service sites and what we did for community service right now. Your senior year. So, what about you, Chacko?
I thought you were going to put him on the spot.
Give him a chance to sit. Make sure he had a little time for you.
I'm ready. Okay.
Oh,
So I went down to Parkland, and maybe kind of like your experience. I don't know that I got the most out of it. I got a little bit. I had actually been volunteering. My mom was a nurse at Parkland, so I already knew Parkland. And the summers before, she had to have us do something, so we went to Parkland to volunteer. So I continued that into my senior year. But the good thing I think for me was you could see different types of people coming in that maybe you don't see on a regular basis. And we worked in some of the clinics. You can see that there are a lot of people in this world that need some help, and that sometimes are struggling to get that help. So to me, it was a continuation of something I had before, but the fact that the school focused on it so much that it set aside time made it important, it emphasized the importance to me.
service project.
Yes, sir.
Senior year. I had the great opportunity to take a part of the dinosaur boom at the time. So I worked at Science Place, and I was one of the the presenters for the different field trips that came through. So I learned a ton about dinosaurs that I thought I'd never know, but it gave me an opportunity to work with different kids, different groups, some quiet, some noisy, crowd control and all those things that actually led me to teaching after I left college. That was my first career, and now, of course, in law enforcement, we deal with some quiet crowds and some loud crowds. So crowd management is what I gained from it. But I also learned that with kids and bringing new information, we don't ever know where they're coming from. You have some people who have all the information in the world, and then you have some people that have very limited information. And for us to see a group of kids that come through, we would pretty much have to just give them information without prejudging, just saying, these kids need this information, and we're going to give it to them.
Mr. Young.
I was a tutor. I think it was St. Anthony's School. It was just south Dallas, like right south of downtown, and it was pretty amazing experience trying to teach a fifth grader pretty much reading at a kindergarten level, and taking them out of the classroom and kind of trying to teach them to read, and showing that people care about them pretty much. You can tell that after every day, or not every day, every Wednesday when you leave, that he really appreciated it and could really was thankful for you being there.
I helped out at Hampton Park Elementary School, which is in the Richardson Independent School District, and helped out in the first grade classroom as a teacher's aide. It's actually the school I went to for first or second grade, so I actually helped out with the same first grade teacher, the teacher I had. So it was kind of interesting to kind of reconnect with her. But I was working with the kids in the neighborhood with reading and math, so it's fun.
I went to Parkland and had a chance to help out a little bit in the ER, and then also in orthopedics, and it was just kind of just real humbling, just seeing everything that was going on. And sometimes it was chaos.
Sure.
And you just saw stuff that I guess you might see on TV, but you weren't used to seeing just right in front of you. And I had so much respect for all the doctors and nurses there, just kind of doing God's work, saving people who don't have the means to really pay or to to take care of themselves in some respects, but it made a huge impression on me.
Sure.
It also taught me that I did not have the stomach to become a doctor or anything related to that field. So,
let's talk about the classroom for a minute. Everybody, think about your academics real quick. Who was your favorite teacher? And tell me why. And then we're going to go to the reverse. So it's okay if you got
the record.
Sure. Don't worry about those red lights on the camera. They mean nothing
about it.
Donahue was my favorite class.
Donahue?
Yeah, really did enjoy it.
I liked Mr. Dorsey because we were lighting stuff on fire and playing with things. Even if he told you not to do it, told you it would hurt, but you still grabbed two things that you weren't supposed to grab. Then we had little neon tubes or something. We're supposed to send electricity to it, and he'd tell you not to grab the ends of it because the electricity would go through you. People still grab it, just to see what it feels like.
Donahue was great, and for me it was because you never knew what was going to happen that day. It was like, okay, who's going to push his limits today? And like, what's he going to do? Like, are you just going to get a subtle, like, Mr. So-and-so, get it together, or is he just going to completely take over, and next thing you know, there's the red markers, there's the people out of class, all that stuff. So it was like, all right, what's going to happen? Whose turn is it? Whose turn is it to push his button? So yeah, he was always entertaining.
I hope I'm saying her name correctly. Miss Ravensbees?
Absolutely, yeah. Gail? Is that her first name? Gail Ravensbees?
Statistics. She gave me my first 100. And I worked really hard. And I was a decent student. I won't say good student. I was a decent student. But she said, you will be able to master this skill. And I was like, I'm giving you 80s, I'm giving you 81s and 3s and 85s, and one test, I got 100. And that was probably one of the turning points academically here, because I just didn't know perfection was there. We always try to be perfect, but to actually get it on a test, I was over the moon. So that was one of those great experiences here.
No favorites? No
I got a
least
good
favorite?
memory of Coach Hooper and
Mr. Hooper
going through Beowulf and doing all the voices of all the Grindles and everything else that he used to do in that class. And I just, now that we're talking about it, I just brought up a memory of him and all of his voices he used to do.
Can you mimic his natural country voice? Mr. Hooper.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that can, though.
I do have another favorite, and I just remembered. I had Mr. Oglesby for English, and he only did one class, and you felt like, oh, I must be really special because I'm in Oglesby's class. But it was just a unique experience to, at that time he obviously was not my counselor. I think it was junior year maybe. But just see the difference between him as a counselor and as a teacher, and the similarities between the two. So it was definitely one of my favorite classes that I had the entire time I was here.
One of my favorites, because she just knew how to handle teenage boys, was Kay Frigo. I can't tell you anything about the class. I can tell you how she reacted to the stuff happening in the audience, and it was better than anything I had ever seen, because she just didn't put up with it, but she'd play off of you. I remember The Road Less Traveled and some of those books that we had to read, but she was funny the way she would handle that. And then you always had I had Peter Billingham for math, and he was going 100 miles an hour. Whether you were catching up with him or not, he was going to get to where he was going to get. And he'd help you, but boy, you had to be ready to go. That was a tough one for me. I was not a mathlete in any way, shape, or form. That was tough.
I'll add one more. I've had a few favorites here. I haven't thought about this in a while. Miss Metzger. Because the end of every class, you did like 15 minutes of meditation.
That's right.
It was like, oh, this is perfect. A little Enya on, take a little nap. It was the best thing. That class was.
That was going to be my vote too.
Yeah.
It was a good was a good class for reflection because it was theology, but learning to meditate at such a young age was, I think, very helpful for the rest of my life. Meditate / take a nap. But also, I think I'd also echo Donahue. I think just it was a bit of a wild card working in kind of history, but also his very animated teaching style, and I never knew if he was going to whittle a pencil into a bayonet before the class was over, or it was just super interesting, and he's just kind of a Renaissance man in terms of just the depth of the knowledge, and just history can be dull if you make it, but he definitely brought it to life.
Yeah, he was so invested, I mean, and just so it was almost like he would challenge people, and I just I don't know, I just ate it up. I just really I can't tell you too much about what I learned as far as history is concerned, but I just felt like there were so many different kind of subtle lessons in each class that I picked up, whether it's just the discipline or just the way you need to kind of present yourself. I mean, everything. I mean, it just really made a big impression.
I feel like Dead Poet Society for history, like standing on our desks.
Yeah, you put the big boot on your desk. You just didn't know if it's going to be you or not. Get ready.
Did y'all? I think a couple of us talked beforehand. Letter jackets. Did you wear them in lieu of a blazer on Fridays? Is that something you guys remember doing?
I did.
You did?
I did, because I wanted to get rid of the blazer.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was like a rite of passage when you got your letter jacket.
I was very proud of my letter jacket outside of school because going outside meant more. But being inside the school, it was about the blazer. It was about how we look. Our expectation was a lot different than other places. So inside the school, it was very much so, let's do what the school does because I respect the school. But outside of the school, and I call that our casual time, that's when I would put the letter jacket on. So, or going to sporting events or anything like that. But I would always don the blazer because I thought that was the most important thing. And one of the things that, I don't know if y'all discussed it before I got here, but the crest on the Navy blazer, I thought that was, when I look back, I think that is the most eye-catching, iconic thing about our uniform of the time. When you have a blazer and you have your school crest on it, that puts us apart. And it also identifies that young man, and I think that young man has to live up to that crest. I think it raised the standard, because if I went outside, if I was at the Galleria Mall, and I was acting un-Jesuit-like, that was on me, and it came back to the school. So when I went to the mall, I behaved like a Jesuit young man, so people would understand that this is not the normal place. This is a special place. So that's one of the things that, that's why the blazer was so significant for me. So.
Completely agree. Now, what do you all remember about your senior blazer? Because we did have a little artistic license for that, if you recall. Tell me a little bit about how yours came to be, or where you got it from, or I tell you, I had a Montgomery Ward from 1964, and it was wool and it was flammable. I don't know where I got that, but it was something. I thought I was trying to win the ugliest jacket competition. But
I think I had the Western cut, kind of vintage like yours.
Okay.
I think I had the black, suede top.
Oh yeah.
The black.
With the yeah, all right.
Elbow pads.
Now, let's think. Name tags. Everybody in the room had name tags.
The seniors had a big responsibility of, if they caught a freshman without a name tag, making them one out of highlighter and stuff like that, decorated.
I do not recall that. I like that.
I think when I was here, the ties, there was no real regulation on ties. It was just any ties. There was like fish ties and really skinny ties, really fat ties. That was one way people could kind of express themselves, was really on the ties.
Yeah, I just remember having to learn to tie a tie for the first time, and then by the time like three weeks in, I could do it in the car without even looking at the mirror, and just like in 30 seconds as you come in. And
absolutely.
I would have my dad do it my freshman year and just kind of loosen it.
Yeah. My dad would do it once, and I'd kind of
take it off, because I had PE first period, so it was pretty insane to show up at school dressed up.
One thing about the name tag I remember, I think it was my senior class that ruined it, but I think a freshman did not have a name tag, so I think you said you'd be in a big name tag, but it was a tradition making them ride the bull in the senior courtyard, and I think we did that, and I just remember I forget who it was, came on. It was disciplinary at the time. It was Mr. Whitaker said, from now on, freshmen do not have to wear name tags. They ended it like a week early. Like they would have to keep their quarter. They just ended it early, and so that that tradition was squashed at that moment. Yeah.
That's amazing. Mr. Whitaker, I remember
Yeah.
Mr. Whitaker. He was a disciplinarian there for a while. Was your class tight with Ursuline? I mean, everybody represents a different class, so.
I think some pockets were. I just remember how awkward those little freshman dances were.
Very.
Yes.
Which I don't know how you can avoid it, but they were very awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
Completely agree. I remember a few at Ursuline. Ursuline used to host some dances too.
Yeah.
In their cafeteria or whatnot.
I remember when I first got here, and, it was my first experience in an all-boys school, but it's like almost immediately after the last bell rang, all of a sudden a bunch of girls were already walking around the hallways here. Like they were coming for clubs or like for track and things. But it was, it felt like at that point it went back to kind of normal world.
Right. They were here in the morning for the girls were here for band. And I remember that, and then cheerleaders were here in the afternoon. What was cheerleading like when y'all were here? Were there guy cheerleaders in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yes, my brother was one.
Your brother was one?
Yes. I don't understand why he did it. I wasn't that social, but felt like it was a good choice by him. But yeah, one of the things actually kind of related to this is one of the things I think the Jesuit offers is it kind of allows young men to kind of develop that social confidence at whatever their pace is, so you're not kind of forced into kind of an awkward age with that awkward experience with girls at dances and whatnot. So I'd say for me, I'd say for me, I was probably a little shyer first, second year at Jesuit, and then kind of I got a little more confidence in that space. I think that's kind of one of the things that allows young men, whether you're shy or a little bit more of an extrovert like my brother was. I think it just gives you the opportunity to kind of find that confidence, and it's important because that's also a time when I think confidence can be very tenuous, and so you want to make sure you kind of feel that you got a good handle on that, especially in those awkward teenage years. Right, you know all about those awkward teenage years.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody ever talks about the lunchroom. Is that anything to talk about?
Other than the square pizza.
Yeah, that was good.
And French fries.
And the French fries.
And you put pepper on the pizza.
The only thing I remember is the pizza was 90 cents. And so one of my cheapskate friends would come around and collect a dime from everybody so that he could go buy a pizza for free every day.
I don't know if other groups were like this, but I literally sat with the same group like every day for 4 years, almost in the same position at the table. I don't know if that.
They still do.
A little too predictable or what, but it just.
Comfort.
Creatures of habit.
Absolutely. Those were the fold-down tables then, right? I remember those. And Mr. Trainer ran the cafeteria.
Thank you, son.
Yes.
Thank you, son. Right? He'd say at the end, thank you, son.
Yep.
And now his son's running it. So. Now, two of the things we've got in this room represented are we've got track from several of you and soccer. So two of the state's biggest tournaments, the Mainzer and the Shaners. So when you guys were playing, did you even have any idea how big those were at the time? Because even in the 90s, those were huge.
Absolutely.
You did?
I knew exactly. There was two meets every year that you have to be ready to go. Especially if you're trying to do Division I sports or anything like that, you're going to see the best people at Shaner. You're going to see the best people at Texas Relays. That was the biggest thing because we got to see everybody. From 1A to 5A at that time. So Shaner was huge, and all eyes were on you. And again, wearing blue and gold, it meant a whole lot because we saw where I lived. A lot of the kids went to different public high schools. So they're like, oh, why'd you go to this school? You could have been here at this school. It's like, no, we're coming for you, and that was always the mindset. So
That's amazing. And then Mainzer being as big, and he might have been around still when you guys were playing.
But it was huge because we were TCIL and it was invitational, and so this was our chance to show ourselves up against the other big schools, and it was always the big, Flower Mound, Plano, all the big schools in Allen, all those schools that we played. And I don't know about you, but for me it was also huge because it was on campus, and being soccer, it was like the opportunity to actually feel a lot of support because we didn't have a lot of fans typically, other than parents and girlfriends and siblings. So the school really got behind it and got out there, right? Especially as we did well. So that was always just really cool to kind of feel the community support and just your peers and your friends. It's out there cheering for soccer, which is not something we normally had when we played most of our other games.
I recall being let out of class to go watch games.
Right. So maybe
Which
that's
is
the
really
reason
cool.
you showed up to cheer for us, but the point was people were there cheering
Yeah,
for
no,
us.
I think
and
it was fun.
awesome.
It was cool to see that.
Yeah, as Gabe said, it was that opportunity. You know, you got to prove yourself, you know, to the public schools. Like, we may not get to compete against you on a regular basis, but we can compete against you. In my senior year, we won it, and it was just such a great feeling. It was like, okay, because you knew a lot of the people, the same situation. You knew a lot of people at the other schools you were playing through club soccer and all that, and it was like, all right, here's our time, you know, to really show you that we can compete against the UIL schools, you know, even though we're in the TCIL.
I know Charlie likes to win that quite a bit.
Charlie likes to win, period.
It's neat to have both of those on campus because it does bring so much attention to what Jesuit Dallas is doing. And they're huge, so we're so fortunate to have both of those. And of course, Mr. Shamer's still alive and never misses one of his events, you know. What do you guys think about when you think several of you have kids and you're a Jesuit continuing the tradition? What do you guys think of Jesuit when you fondly? Do you look back and say, it made me the man I am? What does Jesuit mean to you guys?
You know, for me, it's the lifelong friendships that span not just your own class, but multiple classes. You know, you go to college, and a lot of the people you meet in college, when they left high school, they left high school. Like, they wanted nothing to do with it. And it's just so unique that Jesuit has this pull, if you will, where you still feel real connected to the people you knew, to the school, and that doesn't waver at all. You could not see someone for 5, 6, 7 years, and you pick back up where you left off last time, and you still have that connection that it's just kind of unspoken. There's something to it, and that's always stuck with me. You know, I hope my boys, you know, get to have that same experience, because it's so changing. It just morphs, you know, as time goes by.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, there's almost like this expectation when you come across another Jesuit person in whatever it is, work or just, you know, life, that they're a pretty decent human being, and you can already kind of trust them. And I think that's kind of what's special about the place, regardless of whether I actually know them or not. And I think that a lot of that, again, just comes from this environment and kind of how it molds people. It's almost like an extra parent, if you will, a good parent. I just think this place can help, you know, form a lot of men, and that goes back to being men for others and being a man for others. And so, you know, you just see a lot of quality people out, especially, you know, in this area, that come from this place, and that's not really, you know, just kind of a happenstance. It's because this place, you know, makes a lot of those men.
I think just where I am now, I think the school did affect what, you know, the career fields that I've chosen. I've been a teacher now, a peace officer, so the school definitely had an impact because it was about reaching others, you know, and when you say men for others, that's a whole different other thing. You know, it's not this man for this man, it's men, so it's men and women, you know, everywhere. So I took it to heart, and this place does have a huge part in my heart because of that. I did not have a father growing up, and to have some of these, some of the teachers, the priests, all these people around that are surrounding you, kind of showing you how to be a man and how to be sensitive when it's time to be sensitive, to be strong when it's time to be strong, to fight for everything that you need to have. I believe it started here. The thing that I would like for the future Jesuit kids is to have that same intentionality about your school, and how you need to respect other people, how you need to treat male and female? How do you treat the people, different races and all that kind of things? Those are things that I learned here. For my time here, this is still one of the best experiences that I've ever had.
My mind's kind of in a similar place. I have twin boys, and they're 2 years out from going to high school. And for me, I felt honored to be able to go here. My parents sacrificed to make even the logistics of getting here in the morning more difficult than the financial drain. And when you're young and you kind of have all these other ideas in your mind, it's good to have kind of this sense that you're in a place that not everybody else gets to go to, and there's an expectation to live up to. And it's about not just the academics, not just about what are you going to define as success, but respect for other people. And so I'm hopeful for my boys that if they do go here, they kind of come out with that sense of it's not just about them. Because at that age, a lot of all you're thinking about is just me, right? And so that's my hope is, as I'm thinking about my boys, hopefully if they go through Jesuit, that's what they come out of here with.
I think about just the brotherhood, it's such a transformative time in a young man's life, and I can't think of a better place to go. And, when I was in junior high, I didn't know much about Jesuit, and my parents really had to kind of push me to come here. I didn't really want to. I wanted to go to public school with my friends. Just I was naive, wanted to play sports, and they made me come here, and it was the best decision they could have ever made. And I tell them that all the time. And unlike any other educational experience I've ever had, Jesuit made such an impression on me from my classmates to my teachers, even today. I can't say enough about it, and I can't think of a better place where you're going to send your son where he's going to become a man than Jesuit. You can't manufacture that. There's something about the way it's very intentional. I know, and I know from the curriculum to the Jesuit influence and everything combined, it's just such a deliberate process. And when you start the process, you don't really know what you're getting into. But by the time you finish, if you allow yourself to really experience it, it just makes you such a better person. And so I'm just extremely grateful for the experience. And when I think about, I've got two little boys, and I don't have much of an opinion on a lot of the schools that they go to up to high school. But I know for high school, I want them to go to Jesuit because I just had such an incredible experience, and if I could somehow get them to have that similar experience, I just think for so many reasons it would just make, I just think you're a better person coming out of Jesuit if you take advantage of the opportunity and you allow the experience to kind of mold you. And it's because of just the great people that you're around, the great instructors, the great priests. Everybody kind of invests and pours so much into you. It's so hard to screw that up. So that's kind of my takeaway from it.
Yeah, for me, it's you hinted at it earlier. Yeah, that's probably the best things that ever happened to me coming to this high school, and I really feel like it was part of God's plan from the beginning, and the school is why I'm a Jesuit priest today. Nothing else. The people I met here, Father Postel especially, was a good mentor, and Mr. Thibodeau also, and Father Dooley at the time. But I just found those men inspired me, along with the other people here, and it's just, I think they reached me in a way that other people couldn't, and God used those people to speak to me and to realize what I really wanted in my life. And this school, I will be indebted to it forever for that reason.
Well, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think everyone pretty much covered it.
Just wanted to make sure I didn't want to go all the way around the horn and one man's left out. So
it is like just a big fraternity almost. It doesn't matter if you're the class of 1970 or the class of 99. You got that kind of Jesuit brotherhood that kind of unspoken. I think it was already mentioned that you just got that bond that you can't really describe.
guys, this is so important to the history of the school. Thank you guys for all you do for Jesuit. You're all tied to the school to this day. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to the school and administration. So it's important to us. So please, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you.